parietal pericardium. Now I'm going to switch views again. The cat actually flips directions. So if I'm just reading it, here's the diaphragm, the abdominal cavity, the head would be over here. So right here where it has that 9 and this little membrane chunk right here, that's the pericardial, or the parietal pericardium removed. And then here we just have the surface of the heart showing. And that surface of the heart, if it was pinned and we were asking you to identify the layer, we would be asking for the visceral pericardium. Great. All right, now in the abdominal cavity, I'm actually not going to be talking about a few of these. I'm only going to be talking about the peritoneums because I really just don't want to get into the abdominal cavity today. We're not going to be doing anything today that involves going into the abdominal cavity. Okay, the only thing you need to identify is the 2 peritoneums, visceral and parietal, and these are pretty basic. You don't really need to dig in for this. So the layers in the abdominal cavity are going to be identified similar to how we identified the pleural membranes. So if we were to put a pin on the actual organ surface, that would be visceral peritoneum. So it's just the membrane covering each organ itself. For the parietal peritoneum, we'd again pin the inside of the abdominal wall. So we put a pin right here where you can see that glossy membrane covering it. And for either of these, again, we'd be asking for the layer. Okay, so if we're asking for any of the parietal or visceral membranes, we're going to be specifying this by asking you to identify the layer. All right, now the greater and lesser omentum and the mesenteries, we're going to cover more when we do the digestive system, but it's really important to note that you don't want to pull out the big fatty pouch in the abdominal cavity, okay? That when you open up the abdominal cavity, you're going to see that there's this big hunk of fat. It's actually a fatty membrane, and that's the greater omentum, okay? It's an organ, so don't pull that out. Just leave everything in the abdominal cavity how it is. Okay, we're not going to be touching that. All right, so that's it for page 7. Any questions before we move on to the vessels? All right, sounds good.